I don't know what it's going to take, but I mean, this is like we have a shooting of some kind of magnitude. It used to be yearly, it's now monthly, and it seems like it's sliding into weekly. I mean, I'm not even that interested in being in that many public spaces these days because all it takes is one person.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to go to Pride this year.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that either, to tell you the truth. Like people have lost their minds.
Yeah. And living in San Francisco and given the political reputation that it has and Berkeley as well.
Yeah.
I would always kind of keep my head on a swivel. It honestly has surprised me that somebody hadn't tried to shoot up SF Pride or tried to shoot up Berkeley. I know there have been instances here and there, and I'm not going to linger on it. We can, do another, talk about that. And also, fair point. We have to point out men and women in law enforcement and in the military and all that. Like, we don't know all the times that they talk somebody down or stop some shit before it happened.
True. We don't. Maybe it'd be nice if we did hear about those things.
Good point. That's a good point. Just to review, we ain't even talking about the mass shooting that happened in the subway, in a subway car in New York. That was just 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, because we had to get past that so we could talk about the subway shooting that occurred in the last 24 hours of a guy shooting a man just taking the subway to work in the chest and killing him.
Oh yeah, as it was crossing the Manhattan Bridge, I saw that.
So I mean, we've had 3 bizarre shootings in less than a month.
Just in New York, just on the subway.
In the subway, 2 in New York, 1 in Buffalo, and now Texas.
Oh yeah.
And it really makes you, I don't know how much I want to go to concerts this summer. And it really makes it's sad that it has instilled some level of fear in me because I am a little bit weary of public places now.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget about the mass shooting at the church in Orange County that happened right the day after the Buffalo shooting.
Almost fell off my radar.
A church got shot up that's the next day. So from a person that I follow on Twitter named Kareem Rifai, he's a national security and foreign policy expert. Black people trying to buy groceries, Taiwanese Christians trying to worship. That was the shooting at the church. Okay, it was specifically a church that had a very heavily Taiwanese population. And it is speculated that the person who shot it up was doing so over the one China policy, even though the guy was a Taiwanese national, but he targeted them because of their support for a free Taiwan. So this was political. Elementary school kids going to class all in 1 week, essentially, in a 7-day period. That's what we got. That's what we fucking got here in a place where we have more fucking guns than people. A population
in this country,
350 million. We have 400 million guns.
This country has the nerve to call itself Christian.
And for all the people that want to say, oh, well, thou shalt not kill in the first commandment. It's a fucking commandment and it's the most famous one. Okay.
It's number 1.
Yeah.
God was like, the first thing I need you all to do is not kill each other. And it's the only thing we seem to have a genetic commitment to.
Yeah. From Burgess Everett. Spare me the bullshit of mental illness, says Senator Murphy of the United States. We are not an outlier on mental illness. We're an outlier on firearms.
Preach.
I think we actually might be an outlier on mental illness, but that's another conversation for another day. We certainly are an outlier on firearms.
And I think we're an outlier on mental illness too.
Yeah.
I think we're an outlier on mental illness because over the last couple of decades, our country has put more chemicals in our foods than other countries, although other countries are increasingly doing it now. And that stuff that's been going on our foods has contributed to the overdevelopment of children's bodies, especially girls. And it would be hard to argue that it hasn't had an impact on brain development. There is a reason people are acting crazy. First of all, everybody on this planet has mental illness, as far as I'm concerned. No one has dodged that bullet. No one. And the reason I believe that is because there are things that are not normal that we as a planet have just accepted as normal. And in so doing makes us all sick. So, for example, homeless. We as a planet of people should not tolerate one homeless person, let alone millions of them. We as a planet should not tolerate homeless children, but we do. We as a planet should not tolerate school shootings, but we do. So from my perspective, there is no one who's walking this planet who's healthy. No one. It is all just mental illness versions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is one big Shutter Island, and we're all just mental patients in it, walking around with our detective coats and our hats on. and thinking we're solving the mysteries of the universe. And meanwhile, we're really just institutionalized.